I don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
We're good?
Why are you giggling, bro?
Ah, fucking shit. Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the morning show. Glad to have you here again this week. Thank you so much for all the kind words, for all the support. People in the chat, we love you. We see your messages. We'll get to them in a second. On the console, Poseidon, at Poseidon69 on all social media platforms. His website is still IamPoseidon.com. We're still waiting to see those changes that will be made. In the meantime, you can catch him everywhere on this platform and on patreon.com/Pantelis for exclusive content. In bed with Poseidon, is that done? Yeah, right?
Oh, it's done, but
You're
now
just doing
I'm
the
releasing the
intellectuals?
episodes for free on YouTube.
You're bringing them back.
No, publicly.
Yeah.
Like they used to be like unlisted.
Oh, okay,
now
okay.
they're public. I'm gonna be releasing them.
That's good.
Yeah. Good times, a lot of good moments in those episodes. A lot of good moments.
Sure, I'll take your word for it. Sitting before me, the man, the myth, the legend, Ted Bird, host of Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast. Also, they can find you every morning, still on the radio, broadcasting like legends do.
On Light 106.7, 106.7 FM, online at light1067.ca, on the iHeartRadio app, and on your smart speaker. And you can see me on OnlyFans if you want to check out my man tits and my freckly white ass.
Don't miss it, please. He's saving up for his retirement. I don't know.
I even leave my glasses on.
Just so you can know it's him.
I got coffee stains on my glasses. How does that happen?
It happens. Yeah, seriously. Like it's a lot of splatter from that little hole.
I got a drinking problem.
You get the same problem when you eat ass sometimes.
Coffee stains.
Is that shit in your glasses?
No, it's just coffee stains. What are you talking about?
And my mom just turned us off. That didn't take long. Poseidon, speaking of which, I found a Twitter account this week, or X, and it's either your burner account or it's your long-lost twin, and you were separated at birth, because this guy has so many tweets that sound exactly like something that you would say. Did you look at the account? Because I tagged you, right?
I looked at it fast, but I was
Okay,
really
well,
tired
let me
last
share
night.
a few with you. This was the first one right
Hold
out of
on,
the
can we
gate.
bring it up for everyone to see? I'm going to log into Twitter. I'm going to go on the profile.
Okay,
go
well
ahead.
then,
And you'll stop me when I scroll, okay?
Okay. Some of them are bad, though. Like some of them, even on this podcast.
This is Pantelis Comedy Network.
I
baby.
understand, but like some of them are pretty bad.
It's not FM radio. What does FM stand for?
Frequency modulation, something, or I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Okay, it's definitely what I had, not what I had in mind.
Yeah. So the even the name of the account sounds like something you would say. It's at Rapey the Clown.
Yeah.
RAYPEY
Okay, let's see.
the Clown. Yeah, he's really funny, but he's like you. He's very funny, but he's got no boundaries at all, right? Just like you.
Okay.
Funny, no boundaries. There he is. So, Christ, I can't even. Like, I mean, look at his.
Hold on, let me zoom in a bit.
Like his pinned tweet. I don't even want to read that because
I'm going to read it.
okay.
From felonious junk.
That's him. Yeah.
Suspending someone on Twitter for their words is like kicking someone out of a pool full of cum for pissing in it. He's not wrong.
You see?
He's not wrong. Have you seen Twitter lately? It's practically a porn website.
Oh, Christ.
Okay, stop me when you see one.
Okay, I posted this one the other day, and I said, this is what I'm going to put on my Valentine's card.
The one under.
Right there, yeah. I'm putting this on my Valentine's cards this year.
You
Shit
wanna
on a
be-
biscuit, crap on a cracker. Look out, ladies, it's the old fudge packer. Oy, keep
That's
going.
funny.
Yeah, he's a hoot, this guy. I don't know what's going on there. See, there's where I put, there's me. Pretty sure at Rapey the Clown is at the Poseidon 69's burner account. If not, they are kindred spirits in the most appropriate and hilarious way.
Could you imagine me and him on a podcast?
That would be hilarious, yeah.
It's just me.
Yeah, keep going down. I can only afford Starbucks when I have my gun. Look at the one underneath that. You read that one, Poseidon.
Okay. Like my grandma always said, suck my fucking dick.
Oy. Keep going, keep going. There's one other one that really made me laugh. I know vaginas look scary, but if you confront your fear, you will be rewarded handsomely. I helped get a little girl's cat out of a tree. I felt like a hero, and it's not every day I get to use my pistol. Where's the one that I really liked a lot? The first one that reminded me of you. We're almost there, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. There it is. If I'm retarded, then why am I the only one who knows how good Windows taste? Like, that sounds like Poseidon to me.
But bro, it tastes good, man. Have you tried it?
Anyway, that's him.
That's so funny.
Felonious
Especially
junk.
when there's condensation, bro.
Oh, that's so funny.
Felonious junk, which is a play on words on Thelonious Monk, who I think was a famous jazz musician.
Okay.
Felonious.
That's so funny.
It's funny.
There's a comment here by Alexandra Sumas. Happy Wednesday. What a night yesterday at the Bordel. You guys recorded live for the first time with 2 drink minimum.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
First
talking to you.
First time in a while. No, I was looking for the comment.
Have you done a live recording already with 2 drink minimum?
Over the pandemic, we did a
shit, I
every
didn't know
week
that.
we were doing. We had
So you did it like in the comedy room versus in the studio?
exactly.
So you did it for a crowd?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Was it good?
It was very fun.
Well, was Chris there too?
Yes, he was there. Chris
So
was
he's a regular now, eh?
Yeah, he's part of the.
That's great.
Part of the crew.
Part of the crew, part of the foundation, as they say. After I'm done.
That's a
with
pretty
him.
stalwart lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Ward, Chris Ramsey, Pantelis, and Poseidon.
I got in a few good ones.
Good one.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were going to
There's
say I
one
got
that-
into a fight, and I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
There's one you guys are really gonna appreciate when it comes out today at noon. Actually.
It's today at noon?
Oh no. Is it this episode? Is this the Christmas one?
Well, it is Christmas this weekend. So.
This is December 20th.
I don't know if it comes out at noon. Yeah, it comes out today, I think, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
because usually every Wednesday you guys release it.
So the one you recorded last night comes out today?
I think so.
Does he do much post-production on it, or is it pretty much
No,
just
intro,
the way-
outro, some color correction,
Yeah.
some audio
All right.
correction. That's about it. There's my proudest moment is about 15 minutes in.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Can you give us any kind of a hint as to what it's about, or would that spoil it?
Extremely racist.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
But also very clever.
All right.
Okay. All right. 15 minutes in. We'll look forward to that one. Look forward to that one.
It has to do something with the American society or some shit.
Or some shit.
The American Society or some shit. Okay.
Along those lines.
How long? Okay. I didn't sleep well last night, man. I woke up this morning. I was telling Ted before we went on, I'm stiff everywhere. The girls came in the bedroom. They were sleeping in literally, I slept on about 1.5 foot.
He's sick, so we're all going to be sick for Christmas now.
Oh, you piece of shit.
No, I'm not sick. I just my throat is a little. I woke up there, but I've been taking down halls like
That
it's
doesn't
fucking
do us
candy.
any good.
Yeah, I'll make sure to sneeze out wide like that over there, that way, that direction. But
I already got coffee on my glasses. I don't want your snot on.
coffee. He's got coffee on his glasses. What happened last night there, Ted?
I don't know.
All right, what we got in news, boys? Anything crazy happening in the world?
Ted got some news from actually the only guest that we've had here.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Kovac.
Yeah, Jeff was here on October 11th, 4 days after all the shit hit the fan in Israel and Gaza. Jeff lived in Israel. He's a Montreal Jew who lived in Israel for a while, served in the Israeli military, and he's gone back over. He called me either last week or the week before when I was on my way home from this podcast. He called me up and he said, I want you to hear it from me. I'm going back and I'm rejoining the IDF. And so what he's doing is he's because he's too old to go into an active combat zone, he's helping with training. He's going to train the soldiers who they're going to send in. And I was
that him?
That's him. I don't know if that. I think that's his. That looks like a business page.
Yeah, that's
though.
his commercial insurance.
Yeah.
account.
So I
Send
was.
me a link.
I did
Just-
send you a
just
link.
search.
I sent you a link in email.
No, but if you search Jeff Kovac, you're going to get a bunch of profiles. I'll tell you which
Jeffrey,
one.
Jeffrey.
Right.
I was quite flattered that he took the time to call me up and tell me.
Yeah.
He said, "I wanted you to hear it from me because you're my friend and I like you and respect you, and I want you to know I'm going back over." So
It takes a very distinct amount of courage to leave the safety and the security of your place in Canada.
and your family. He's got
And
2 kids, 2 children
over here.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember if he had any kids in Israel, but
I don't think so. But
I can't remember if they were serving. But anyway, it takes an enormous amount of courage to actually get up. You don't have to do anything. You're at the safety and security of your house over here. The will to actually say, you know what, I feel like I need to be
well,
there.
it's important to him. He's a proud
I gotta
Jew.
log in.
He's a proud Jew. He's a proud Israeli. And I posted something on my Facebook page, a picture of him or a video of him back over in Israel. And I said, you know, before you start shooting off your uninformed mouth about Jeff being over there participating in genocide, click on this link and watch his appearance on our podcast.
Yeah.
Because he was very balanced and very empathetic towards the Palestinians when we had him in this studio.
Yeah.
And it was a real eye-opener for me. And to hear from someone who's lived there and who knows the lay of the land, it makes a big difference. It gives you a perspective that what do we know over here? What do we know?
No.
We know shit.
Yeah.
You know, we know what we hear in mainstream and social media.
and sometimes even they don't know what they're
Well,
talking
no,
about.
of course not. You've got to take it all with a grain of salt because everybody's got an agenda, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
there he
him.
is. Yeah. So and Jeff said when he was in here, he said, you know, he said that he got on famously with the Palestinians, and he had Palestinian friends, and they want the same thing that everybody else wants, and that it's this minority, this Hamas-led minority of radicals who are running the show in Gaza. They're in charge. And that's why we get into, or they get into, situations like they're in now. He said the overwhelming majority of Palestinians don't support what Hamas did.
Yeah.
And we said to him at the time, why don't you hear from the overwhelming majority? And he said, because they're scared. Because they don't want to, if they know if they speak up, you know, they're imperiling themselves.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's, and that's not to say that, you know, Israel's got blood on, Israel also has blood on its hands, and it's just ugly. It's what's war, and war is ugly, and it's just.
And we're talking about this a bit before we went on air on how the destruction and the conditions right now in Gaza are just horrible to watch. And there's all these stories coming out from doctors that have been sent there from Doctors Without Borders and all these other organizations that are trying to do whatever they can, and they just can't. They don't have the equipment, they don't have the supplies, nothing is getting to them. We've seen footage of the humanitarian aid trucks being hijacked by Hamas and stolen.
God damn.
Well, that was one of the things Jeff pointed out, that the leaders of Hamas, they're not in Gaza, they're in Qatar, living in luxury.
Yeah.
And they divert all these resources that come from outside and are supposed to go towards, making life better for the Palestinian population. The Hamas leaders divert them into their own pockets, and they're living high on the hog.
Yeah, no, it's sad to see, and I think any Israeli would also say that the devastation is just horrible. At the same time, though, and this is not to justify those actions, but you almost have to, because I think it's the first time in a very long time that people's eyes have been open to the fact that Hamas has been hiding under schools, hospitals, and they're using these civilian infrastructure to defend, to kind of shield themselves, right? No one ever believed that, and now that the Israeli troops are in there, and there's all this footage that is being released with underground tunnels, this very complex network of tunnels that links to hospitals and schools, and sadly, these are all institutions that are ran by the UN. And there's a huge question now that falls on the shoulder of the UN as to whether or not they knew what was happening. There have been Hamas terrorists that have been arrested and taken by the Israeli forces that are doctors, that worked as doctors at these hospitals. So there are so many question marks, and obviously the situation is complex. We haven't gone into it because we don't claim to know much. We hear what we see. We talk about what we hear and see on the news. And again, like you said, can we really trust what's happening in the news? I mean, I follow a lot of independent journalists that are on the ground for the information, it's not fun at all.
No, I find that nowadays the best you can do, the best I can do, is I try to seek out multiple perspectives, and then just formulate my own perspective from that. I try not to get too far inside my own ideological bubble, Like
I know I'm biased. I have
everybody,
I have a clear position in this conflict, but at the same time, I'm very sensitive to what's happening in Gaza as well. I mean, you have to be to have lost your humanity not to care, right? I don't know, man. We wish Jeff all the best. I hope he's safe out there. I mean, if he's not in battle and he's just training,
he was. He posted some pictures the other day. He was in a fruit orchard helping to harvest some fruit in one of the kibbutzes that was attacked on October 7th. Yeah, so he's right there, man. He's right there.
I wouldn't be able to do it. And
well, you know what? Jeff has 4 parents who were Holocaust survivors. So, and this is what really strikes me about this. And when people criticize the Israeli response, one thing that I understand, and I understand this from, I think we talked about this. I understand this from living in Montreal for 35 years. This city has or had the second largest, after New York, I believe, the second largest Holocaust survivor community outside of Israel. And so I know a lot of people whose extended family were in the Holocaust, whose parents or grandparents, aunts, uncles were in the Holocaust. And when October 7th happened, like the dread that went through them, like they relived a trauma. Well, not even relived, because most of them weren't there because they were born after the war. But having grown up in survivor families in a survivor community, there's an existential dread for them when people are murdered just because they're Jewish, you know? They were targeted, those people who were killed by Hamas were targeted specifically because they're Jewish.
Yeah.
And Hamas has an agenda of destroying the Jewish state and the Jewish people. So how do you have a ceasefire and negotiate with people who have that agenda?
No, you can't.
Whose agenda is your destruction?
Yeah. No, you can't. They need to be eliminated. The big question mark, Ted, is whether or not they can be eliminated, because it's not just Hamas. I mean, there are so many subdivisions of this group.
And also, the point has been made repeatedly, and I heard it yesterday on a podcast that I listened to by a former colleague of mine, a very accomplished and estimable, to use one of her favorite words, journalist, Trish Wood. And Trish is more on the Palestinian than the Israel side of the argument. And she pointed out, and rightfully so, that what's happening is just creating more and more future terrorists.
Oh, yeah. This is just, it's a snowball effect. And just to go back to what you were saying before about, the fear of being Jewish today, and to think that happened at some point in history and it's over, that's one thing. And, it's important to preserve that history and for that history to transcend from generation to generation. But to know that is still a reality today is mind-boggling.
You mean the anti-Semitism?
Yeah.
The level? Yeah, and it just, it was like somebody took the top off a box. Like that box was locked up for 80 years, and then all of a sudden, bang!
Yeah.
And it's out there and it's front and center. And it's not just Hamas. You're seeing people the world over from all different.
You're seeing it everywhere in the world, and this is the thing about social media today. It's instant and it's in your face, and we have it here. I saw this video in London. There were all these, obviously they were Muslims, marching down the street with the terrorist flags, and it was tens upon tens of thousands of people. It was just massive.
Well, London has a massive Muslim population. Yeah.
So, I mean, to a certain extent, you need to be asking yourself a question, right? If you're a government, who am I really bringing in here? And it's fine. It's honorable for these countries to offer a better future for anyone that can have that option in the country that they're from. And I think we've said that before in other podcasts. I believe, especially in Canada, the biggest challenge going forward in the next maybe 5 to 10 years is going to be around identity. There's no way that could be avoided. We're seeing what's happening in Canada. Well, we have a topic to discuss about that demonstrator in Toronto in the mall, where this group in the hundreds of pro-Palestinian demonstrators stormed this mall.
I think it was the Eaton Center right downtown.
It was, that's right. The goal for them was to interrupt the Santa Claus kind of event where all these families go with their little kids. It's such a joyous event.
And guess what? Santa Claus is not a Jew. Let him do his fucking mall gig, okay?
Yeah, no, but what does it change? For me, it comes back to what we said last week, Ted. What will it change? What is the purpose of this demonstration? You want to raise awareness? That's fine. Raise awareness. You're more than free. Get out in the street and make your voices heard. But to be interrupting and to be assaulting and to be in people's faces, I don't see the point. They wanted to go and tear down this Christmas tree. What is that going to do?
And what does it have to do with what's happening?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. You want to establish your superiority as a Muslim?
I would understand if they wanted to go tear down a Hanukkah menorah.
Yeah,
which you shouldn't do. But no, you shouldn't do that either. But at least that would make sense in terms of
there's a direct correlation to the conflict.
Yeah. What does Santa and a Christmas tree have to do with anything? I don't
understand. I mean, because it's Jesus' story. Jesus was a Jew. I don't know what it is, but regardless of all that happening, there's a video that went viral of this guy, obviously wearing a mask because they didn't have the fucking courage to go with their faces uncovered, threatening a police officer, just telling him, I'm going to put you 6 feet under.
So it was a cop he was saying.
Yeah. And the cops were there like, what the fuck did he just say? And everyone in the comments was like, why aren't the cops doing anything? And, you have all like Rex Murphy, I think, in the National Post, like, well, what the hell is the government doing? And why is Justin Trudeau ignoring this? And I'm not here to take Justin Trudeau's side. We've bashed this guy more than more than enough on the podcast. But yeah, that's the video. But the thing is that when you look at it
for a second.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
You want to put on headphones,
Yeah.
boys?
This guy.
With the mask.
You come near me, I'll put you lay down on the floor. I'll lay you sleep. I'll put you 6 feet deep. I'll put you 6 feet deep.
Look at the cops looking around. He's like, what the fuck did
Is
he
he
just say?
saying that? Is he saying that to the cop or to somebody else?
No, he's saying to the cops.
Yeah.
Just tell the cop to put him 6 feet. Yeah. He's not trying to say he's a pussy, bro.
Why don't you show your face, you fucking prick?
Because he's a coward. That's
You know what
why.
I mean? Look at you. It's so easy to hide yourself and go, look at him. Like, what are the cops, like... Yeah, you can close it, Poseidon.
The cops must have been told, don't escalate.
Yeah.
Like, unless you really have to do something.
Yeah. Unless your
Don't
life
do-
is at risk
Yeah,
or
yeah,
if
yeah.
you're physically
Yeah.
abused. Look, I've seen tons of demonstrations, guys. I mean, through my time in politics, I've seen people in the cops' face swearing, spitting, even to some degree pushing them and shoving them, and the cops don't move because you never know how much it could escalate.
Yeah.
And you saw how many there were.
Yeah.
They were clearly more than whatever the
And they
5-6
were-
cops
yeah.
that were there, right?
Yeah, and those guys were looking for trouble too.
Of course, number one. But at the same time, there are so many, like thousands of people in that mall that are shopping. You know how fast it can get out of hand. Can you assure everyone's protection if it does get out of hand? So there's kids over there as well. So I commend the police officers for keeping their cool. I don't understand all the comments coming on and saying, what the hell's wrong with these guys? How can they let him go? Blah, blah, blah. I'm sort of with you as well. Like, grab this fucking guy, put him to the ground, knee him to the fucking kidneys and arrest him. And if he's been, and if he's an immigrant, deport him, send him back. Honestly, guys, ever since this happened and these demonstrations started occurring, not just demonstrations, but inciting violence like this, my position has been very like, get these guys, arrest them. If they're immigrants and they don't have their citizenship, deport them, send them back.
But as you said
and even if
before-
they do have their citizenship, I think there's a buffer zone during which they can fucking recall it.
Yeah.
So deport them, get them out. We don't need that here, man.
But like
I'm
you
very
said,
sorry.
when we were talking about this before we went on, you said it's with the cops in that situation is probably a judgment call. Because if they had grabbed him and put their knees on his kidney,
chaos would have
yeah,
ensued.
Exactly.
Chaos would have ensued.
And they don't want that.
No. So I think they showed good judgment, and this is just to reply to all the articles that came out and all the comments that I read on them being negligent and the government not caring. What the hell do you want them to do? What do you want them to do? These guys are trained professionals. If push comes to shove, they know what they have to do, and I'm sure that they would do it. In any case, someone's filming. I'm hoping that this guy's face comes, or like they end up finding who he is.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure that the cops have made it their business to find out who this guy is.
You can't threaten a cop, man. You can't threaten a cop.
And
They take this stuff personally.
He's going to hear from them one way or the other, I think.
So this is very much worrying me, this demonstration of hate, and especially in Canada. Like I said, I've seen so many demonstrations, and yes, I've seen violent ones, and I can understand the frustration sometimes. But I've never seen anything like this. To incite violence and hatred to this degree, to call out for the extermination of the Jews or any people for that matter. Doesn't matter if they're the Jews or not. I have never witnessed that, and I never thought I would in Canada, to be honest with you.
Yeah, nor did I. Like I said, it's like a box, just with like the lid blew off a box.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and it's discouraging and distressing at the same time.
And I can understand people wondering, what the hell is the government doing? I mean, at some point they see this, right? I mean, they must see it. There has to be some sort of questions coming up higher up. wondering, what are we doing? Why are we allowing this to happen? I don't know what the answer is. I honestly don't know what the answer is.
I do. Electric vehicles.
What? Sorry.
I'm just doing a segue.
Perfect fit.
Are you
Tell us
all right?
tell us about the electric vehicles.
Well, I don't know what to tell you except that I saw that fucking guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Stephen Gilbo. Is he not a convicted criminal?
He was arrested because he was
Didn't he
part
try to
of some
climb the
demonstration.
CN Tower,
I
Greenpeace?
don't- Yeah, something with
Yeah.
Greenpeace. I'm not sure what he did there,
Like
but
way back
he's
when.
been arrested a couple times.
He's a radical environmentalist, and now he's our minister of the environment, and climate change. I believe it's also called that portfolio now. So he has announced that by 2035, there will be no more automobiles sold in Canada that emit carbon.
Yeah.
Like will be emissions free in 2035.
They really are trying to turn everyone gay.
Excuse me, I have an electric vehicle.
Did I stutter?
Oh my God. Look, and this is what we were talking about with Ted before we started. I get it, and I have an electric vehicle. I'm a fan. I see the advantages. I also see the disadvantages. Like when I take out my car in the winter time, and from whatever I have,
Let's say 100%.
400 kilometers or 420, whatever the car gives me, down to 300. And then as you're driving outside, you see that number dropping like so rapidly.
Really? Eh?
Oh my God!
And is it hard to get the car heated up as well? Is it harder to heat up an electric car?
For me, I don't know because
So wait,
it's in
what's
the
the
garage.
range in winter? What's the range in winter? 300
You
kilometers?
lose easily off the bat as soon as your car start. Well, we have a garage, so there's an advantage there. So the car is warm in the garage, so that's fine. But you're starting off minus 30%, 35%.
Wow.
But as you keep driving it, there's the cold weather. You have the heat fucking going because you want to stay warm. You have all the accessories going and everything. That number plummets, especially if it's like minus 30, minus 40. I mean, it's not every day that it's minus 30, minus 40. But if you have only that one vehicle, you're in trouble. We were we nearly got stuck once. I remember we went to some client out in Saint Bruno. I can't remember. It was last year, and it was not that far. And it was in Saint Bruno, and we had a few to go visit with my wife. And it was minus 40. It was that really cold day last year. And I look at her, I'm like, I'm not so sure we're going to make it back home. She's like, yeah, we are. I'm like, we had to ditch a couple clients because we couldn't wait. We came home. And after, like when you drop under, I think 10 or 12% battery life, the car automatically goes into this protection kind of mode where you can't go more than 80 kilometers an hour. The heating stops, the radio stops. It's like this, it's like this mode that it just protects itself. And thankfully, it happened right at the exit that we take to go to my house. And it was the weirdest thing. Like you're going 120 on the highway, and then suddenly you're like, what the fuck just happened? And you just see you can't go more than 80. You're like, what the fuck?
I'm never buying an electric car.
Seriously, how are you supposed to fishtail in a parking lot with that thing? Come on.
No, but I get the craze. And to some degree, okay, look, it's evolution. We're getting there. It's fine. The worry that I have is, are we able to even make those targets by 2035?
Well, what is the infrastructure alone, And 2035 is only 11 years from now. We're on the cusp of 2024. And I know it sounds like a long time, but you know how time goes.
Yeah.
Man. It's just like, bang.
You know what really bothers me about these electric cars, and I know what it is. I've thought about it. It's not the fact that they're electric. It's the fact that they've turned them into driving computers.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like you're driving a computer. There's a YouTube channel that I saw a while back. They do resto mods, and they do them electric resto mods.
Oh yeah, they grab old cars and convert them to electric.
Cars and convert them into electric.
Robert Downey Jr. has done a bunch of his old classic cars.
So those cars, they remain simple. They just run on battery power. You have the old, I think the shifter has to change because it can no longer be mechanical.
Yeah.
But apart from that, they don't do all the crazy shit. They keep the basic radio and AC controls. How they are.
Everything that powers by battery uses the
So that is pretty cool in my opinion. If you were to make regular everyday cars that aren't computers on wheels, I think I would be more for it. But the fact that you do all this complicated shit and you can recall them, drive them back, hijack them, all this insane shit worries me.
But most of even the gas powered cars today, everything is digital. Your heating, your everything.
Even
you have a screen and you just press it and it goes on.
I drive a 2013 and I don't know how to do half the fucking things that are available on that car.
Do you have manual? Do you have manual little things for your heating and everything?
Yes.
Oh, you do. That's still okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I've got a remote starter. I got no fucking clue how to use it.
The touchscreen is not a big deal for me. It's just when the touchscreen is the main, like everything is controlled from there.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. Because look, I have another car that is gas powered. We have two.
The XC90.
Yeah.
No, but you still have buttons though.
Yeah, but everything's still controlled by the center console. Your heating, your AC, the seats. No, it's still manual. But your essentials, everything is there.
Yeah.
Like I have a volume knob, but and a couple buttons here and there, but everything else is there. So this is just the technology evolving into the gas powered cars as well. So I don't think you can avoid that. The big question is what we said. I mean, are car manufacturers going to be able to maintain their production? Because you go buy an electric vehicle, you're on a waiting list for minimum 2 years, unless they have them already in stock or unless someone has returned it and there's one available for you and you happen to be there on the list. There's a huge waiting line. So are they going to be able to produce them? And we saw the shortage. I mean, with COVID, there was a huge shortage, right? All the chips and everything. They couldn't get them from Asia over here. So
it was for all cars, though, wasn't it? During COVID, you couldn't get.
Yeah. So including electric cars as well. So that's one big question mark. And the other question mark is, I don't know about the rest of Canada. I mean, we live in Quebec, so we kind of understand a little bit Quebec better. Are we going to have the grid, the required grid to be able to power all these vehicles? And we were saying before we went on, he was saying a story about how he goes to his pool and there's maybe 6 charging stations. And, I mean, there you can easily install them.
And it's not just a pool. It's a pool in the Bob Burney Arena. It's a very busy arena on the West Island, right? And it's right next to the Aquatic Center. So in the evening, that parking lot's full. There's 150 cars in that parking lot, and there's like 4 or 6 electric car chargers.
Yeah, clearly
and
not enough. It's not enough now.
Yeah.
Imagine exactly. But forget about that. And I told him the example, what if you live in a condo? There's like 250 units. You have an underground garage, but what are they going to do? They're going to install electric stations in each fucking parking. And even if they do, that's the question. They could do it. Anything is possible. They can install it. It's just hardware and they install it. Problem is, do we have the power required to do that? I'm not so sure. And 11 years is literally like tomorrow when it comes to this kind of infrastructure.
It's short term.
And we're talking about Quebec here, which is a leader in hydro. Well, what's going to happen in Nova Scotia or I don't know, in Ontario has withdrawn completely from that plan. In the article that you send me, Quebec and BC are leading the sales of electric vehicles. That's fine. But what's going to happen in the other provinces? They clearly don't have the hydro grid that we have here in Quebec.
So let me get this straight. The 2 provinces, so the one with a drug problem and the one with a sexuality problem is the one leading this shit.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we're ahead of the game.
Connection?
Yeah.
We're ahead of the game over here.
You know what I've heard very little? Actually, I haven't heard anything about it. And maybe if I went online and searched it, I could find some articles about it. But I've heard nothing about what the oil industry thinks about this change.
I'm sure they're not happy.
What OPEC is going to do. These countries, these oil, petroleum producing countries whose economies are built on fossil fuels.
Yeah.
Are they just sitting there going, "Oh, okay. Oh well, what are you going to do?"
No. I think the alarm sirens have gone off.
Yeah, years ago.
Oh yeah, years ago.
But what are they doing?
They
How
have
are they
powerful
adjusting?
lobbies. I don't know. I don't know. But think about this.
Are they getting in on the electric game?
How could they get into the electric
I
game?
don't know.
I have.
don't know.
It's impossible. But sorry to interrupt you, but keep in mind one thing. This is all political decision making.
Yeah.
There's no way that we're always going to have that level of environment-friendly governments elected. And we're saying this before we went on.
Yep.
Assuming that Pierre Poilievre gets elected next election, which based on the polling today, it seems very likely. Of course, we don't know what might happen in 1 or 2 years from now. There is no doubt in my mind that he's backing away from this. There's no doubt. So the U.S. is the same thing. So I don't know. I fear that it's going to be this back and forth kind of movement depending on what government is in place. But to answer to your question on how serious the governments take the oil crisis or the oil companies
if you
in
have
general.
zero emissions, that means you're closing down all of the gas stations. Is the oil industry going to just let that happen?
I'm not so sure, but to see the reaction on how much they want to protect these companies, look what's happening in the Red Sea. And I sent you an article on this U.S.-led coalition to protect the Red Sea because we've spoken about this. You have the Houthi rebels in Yemen that are attacking any American or Israeli ship going through the Red Sea. And this is serious, right? Because,
What's their motivation for that?
It's repercussions to what's going on in Israel.
So it's just ideologically based.
100%. These guys
and they're backed by Iran, right?
Absolutely, 100% funded by Iran. And we saw the video of the operation where they hijacked a boat the other time. They came down on a helicopter and everything. So, and it's serious because most of these companies that use those routes to transport their oil stopped. So there's an expected crisis about to happen in the Suez Canal, where no ships are going to be able to pass from there. And now you have the U.S.-led coalition with 5 or 6 major countries that are going to be sending armed forces to protect the Red Sea, specifically against these rebels. It's not because we want to maintain peace in the area. Let's be honest here. This is because there's a lot of fucking money going through that channel that they need to protect their interests. I mean, it is the only reason. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
So imagine you're so big, you're a major billion, if not trillion-dollar corporation that you can mobilize a country's army to protect your interests.
Yeah, well, money talks, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So just to go back to your question, what's going to happen with these companies? They still have a huge pull. So I don't know what they're going to do with this policy.
I have a prediction for electric cars.
Yeah. Here we go, guys. Get ready.
No, it's actually serious. I'm not. I'm not gonna say anything really dumb.
We'll be the judge of that.
I just want to preface this.
Yeah. So I think that they're really going to push for electric cars, and I think people will try to make the effort to move to electric cars. I think they're attempting to do this a little too fast, and it's going to cause so many problems. It's going to do the opposite because now people are excited still a bit for electric cars, but by trying to force it like this, it's going to get people mad. You know, kind of how like the Quebec government tries to force French.
Yeah.
The same way. So I think a backlash is going to happen eventually.
I don't know about a backlash. You know what I think? Sorry to interrupt you. I just think they're just going to be postponing the deadline. Do you remember a couple of years ago, the deadline was 2025? I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, it was.
The deadline was 2025.
For zero emissions?
Yeah, for electric vehicles.
Yeah.
I remember because we had a Volvo, and I remember Volvo sending us a message like in the mail saying that Volvo was going to stop their production after 2020. There won't be any more fuel emission cars.
One of our podcast sponsors is Jaguar Land Rover Laval, and the owner there told me that Jaguar had a 2025 target for all electric
That's what it
vehicles.
was. So now they postponed it to 35. I just think they're going to be adding like 10 years, 10
and
years.
as you said, when the conservatives get in, it'll probably change because they're not as environmentally radical as.
And you know,
Also, can we address the fact that what's crazy to me is nobody is addressing this, is electric cars cause more pollution.
Which brings me to this.
their production, their maintenance, even after when they're done with.
Yeah, we don't know what to do with the batteries. Whereas opposed to a car can be salvaged indefinitely. The metal, everything from it can be taken and put into something.
But I'm
melted.
sure on the technological front, they're going to come up with ways to refurbish batteries or I mean, they're too big of interest to just let go like that. Just to we'll just dump the battery somewhere in some fill.
I have a friend who's a geological engineer, and he has worked on oil rigs. Like he's been out there in the field sucking that bad stuff out of the ground, right? And I asked him,
Stop it. I know where your brain went. Just stop. I can feel it.
I asked him, at what point, would the Earth run out of fossil fuels? And he said, I need more space than just what they allow on Messenger, but we will not run out of oil ever. He said the amount of fossil fuels, oil in the Earth, we would never run out. He said the only reason they're pushing electric vehicles is they want to be able to control your movement. You look at the emissions, and this goes to what you guys were just saying. You look at the emissions questions about production of these vehicles, and electric cars are obviously worse for the environment than the production of gas vehicles.
Thank you.
Besides, Quebec with hydropower, when you plug your car in, where does the juice for your electric car come from? Natural gas and coal-fired power plants.
Yeah.
Amazing.
There was an article that I read that
I used to be I'm interrupting you, George. I used to be like anti-oil because we have ethanol and methanol. You know this, right? There's been a documentary done on this. Brazil has a complete infrastructure where the gas stations are just ethanol and methanol. I think methanol is made from discarded plastics, and I think ethanol is made from corn.
Yep.
It's actually clean fuel. When you burn it, they've done a lot of tests, and I've seen the tests. When you burn it, it doesn't leave any residue. It's clean. It's clean fuel, and it doesn't pollute as much. So we have the option to go completely clean fuel. So, but I don't understand. Like when I was thinking, like, oh yeah, we should do away with oil. I wasn't thinking this monstrosity. I was thinking like, fuck, look at Brazil. We're not. A whole country can do it. You know what I mean? But the oil business here is strong.
I was saying that there were articles that were published a while back that I read that hydrogen cars are going to be the actual future and the actual way to go. I just don't understand how that works.
The only thing with hydrogen cars is they have to be massive. That's the first thing. And they are incredibly loud. Have you seen like actual hydrogen cars?
No, they exist.
Yeah. So the Hyundai made one. The Hyundai Envision. Okay.
They should have called it the fart. It's really loud.
It was no, but it didn't sound like a fart. It sounded like almost like a jet engine powering up, and it was supposed to be a two-door sports car, but a two-door sports car is not that long. This was longer than the Mercedes S-Class. You know the S-Class?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
It's very long car. Yeah. And this was a two-door sports car, and it was longer than a Mercedes S-Class. So those are the two things that they're struggling with right now with hydrogen. So it's not anytime soon, in my opinion.
I'd also miss the exhaust note from internal combustion engines. I fucking love the exhaust note. And my son Charlie, who's into cars, he told me that they're actually, like some companies with their electric cars, they're like offering like these sound packages where you have
I have that on
you
mine.
have like you have a pretend sound on your.
It's the most ridiculous thing.
It is ridiculous.
I put it and I laugh. Like when I bring people in the car for the first time, I have 3 drive modes.
The advertisement is how to sound like a man while your girlfriend paints your nails.
It's pretty, like, honestly, it's ridiculous. It's funny. Like you have 3 modes. And the third one is, the muscle car mode or whatever. Right. I can't remember what they call it. And you press it, and first you feel it, like you feel the engine. Well, there's no engine, but you feel like it's.
So they've created a vibration.
Well, no, the acceleration and the drive, it's much stiffer. Like you feel the change in the driving mode. Okay. But at the same time, you hear this.
And where's that coming from?
Inside the car. If you're outside, you still hear.
Oh, you only hear it inside the car.
Inside.
That's so stupid.
So hold on.
This is just to please the driver to
Yeah.
feel like he's driving a sports car.
So hold
to
on.
God.
You think that you're not gay, but everyone else knows.
You're like, look how cool I am. Let me go. Oh, there's a tunnel coming. Ah, fuck it. Oh, under the tunnel. Nobody can fucking hear it.
That's like a metaphor for masturbating, you know? I'm not really having sex, but I sort of am.
I can't believe all these electric cars are making me pro oil. It's insane.
Yeah, it's funny. Sorry, because when we test drove it, the sales rep, he's like, "Oh, look at it, these functions," and they use that as a selling thing argument, and they're like, "Oh, look at this one," and you put it on, and you feel the difference in the driving. You're like, "Okay, cool," but then you press the gas, and you hear the thing. I'm like, oh shit, that's nice. He goes, yeah, you can only hear on the inside though. And I start laughing at the guy. I start laughing. I go, what are you talking about, bro? I go, how is this your selling point? I go, are you serious? He goes, yeah, I mean, it's more of a gadget, but mostly it's for the driving. Like you feel the difference, if you like to go fast or whatever. And they added that little sound effect. It's the funniest thing ever.
The new Dodge Charger Daytona SRT, the electric one, they did something interesting. Still very gay, but better than that. Basically, they put like these kind of like funnels, kind of like trumpets under the car where the exhaust usually is, and kind of to do with something with the air. Here, take a listen.
Also, when it's driving, the air comes in.
Yeah.
So this is an electric vehicle?
That's actually smart. See, that's nice.
Yeah, but it's still not real.
Exactly.
No.
You can tell it's not real.
It looks nice.
So in the back here, as you guys could see, I'm just gonna show people what I'm seeing.
It's like a fake exhaust.
It's they kind of put like these funnels or tunnels or whatever that the air goes through, and whenever you accelerate, it pushes air through them, and it does.
It makes a noise. Yeah.
Growl. And you know why I know it's not as good as the real thing, and I will. It comes purely. It's instinctual, basically, because when I hear this, I want to get excited, but I know
Once you get in the car, it won't be the same feeling.
No, it's not that. I know there's something about it that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
There's no crackles. There's no pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's better.
but it's
it's
'cause
better
it's
than
not-
it's better than just a hum.
Yeah.
No, if I was going to get an electric car, just give me the hum. I don't want to pretend that it's something that it's not.
Have you heard the Tesla reversing? Sounds like a gay ghost.
Mine beeps. Beep, beep, beep.
That's better. I prefer that.
Yeah.
A gay ghost.
You want to laugh? Now that you mentioned about accessories making.
Fabulous.
Watch out, guys! I'm reversing.
I went to a while back. I went to my cousin's house. He lives out in Bedford, and on his truck he has these little things that he's clipped onto the grill, and you don't hear it. It's like this supersonic thing. Like as you drive, the air comes in and it makes a noise that you don't hear it, but it's to keep the deer away, so the deer can actually hear it, so they don't jump in front of your car.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, that's
Well, that
actually,
makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. He goes, yeah, man, you can buy them, and it's really simple. You just clip them on your grill in the front. And I look at him, I'm like, I don't have a grill. I don't have a grill. It's just one flat surface in the front. So forget about that.
I was even disappointed with Formula One when they went from the V10 and V12 supercharged engines, and then they went to the V6 turbo. Even the exhaust note there was such a letdown from what it used to be. Those old, I'll never forget the first time I went to the Grand Prix.
I've never been.
You've never been?
No.
My friends, when I lived in Toronto, and this goes back like close to 40 years, and it does go back 40 years now. My first race was the 82 Grand Prix. I was living in Toronto, and a bunch of my friends said, come on, we're going to Montreal to the Grand Prix. And I was like, oh, fuck off with the car racing. Boring.
Yeah.
And we got there and came up out of the metro, and you could hear those cars out on the track, and you could feel it going through your chest. And that exhaust note That exhaust note is so fantastic. But then, it screamed. The old supercharged V10s and V12s had a scream, but the V6 turbo is more throaty, and it doesn't compare. There's actually a pretty good. I'm going to send it to Poseidon. There's a pretty good.
You want me to find a video?
Yeah, it's the Australian Grand Prix.
They still use V10s.
No, they use V6 now, V6 turbo, and you can really hear the difference. Australian Grand Prix V10 versus V6, I think. Try that and see.
Okay, I found a video of V10 versus V8 versus V6.
Okay, well,
I even found one with V12. So okay, you want to listen to this?
Yeah, you'll really hear the difference. The exhaust note, the old exhaust note.
That's a burger falling on a grill.
Yeah, you see, that's what. Yeah, the new engine sounds like a fucking hamburger. It's a real letdown. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
So what's this one supposed to be?
It's a V8.
Yeah, this one's the V8.
Yeah, so this would be the old supercharged engine. This should scream quite nicely when it goes by. It's so much
This
better.
is the V10. Man, they're loud. Oh, I can hear. I see what you're saying. The screaming.
Yeah, and you hear the crackle that he was talking about.
Yeah.
I found one that really illustrates it best. That I'm gonna email you the link right now, Poseidon. It was
the V12s. This is about that. Wow! Did you hear that, George?
Yeah.
And then the V6.
This is what they have now. The V6 turbo.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like a go-kart.
It's very muffled, I find.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like a go-kart.
Yeah.
But you can really hear the difference. Have a look I think I just sent
Yeah, I'm
you.
gonna open up my.
Yeah, have a look at the YouTube video that I just sent you, and it's at the Australian Grand Prix, and it's at the start-finish line. So they all go by at the same time.
Yeah.
So you can really hear the difference. They have the 2013 one when they still had the supercharged. I believe they were V8s, and then 2014 when they switched over to the V6.
Yeah.
And I don't.
You're making me want to buy a V8 now.
Yeah. So here's 2013. This is when they still had the old engines.
I think you have to press play. Oh, okay.
So close between the two, but brilliant racing.
Brilliant racing. You can tell he's an Aussie. Here they come.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's Formula One to me.
It's so loud, man.
Isn't that amazing? And then you really hear the difference. The next year, listen to this. Listen to the difference. Come on.
It's like standing next
Dude,
to.
did you notice something very interesting about the video? Yeah, it sounds like go-karts.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
Did you notice only a 2-cylinder difference? They're all wearing ear
they're
protection. And in this one,
you have
V6.
A bunch of them aren't, eh? It's true.
No
Hey,
one's
look
wearing
at that.
ear
Isn't that
protection.
something? Wow. I didn't notice that. But that really underscores the point, right?
Yeah.
But it just sounds so much cooler.
It
Those,
really
they're
shows
super loud.
It really shows the difference in the decibels.
You know, when we got married, we had we lived in a condo downtown, and you can hear them from
Yeah, sure.
We were just a block south of the Bell Center there, but
to
you
me,
can hear
that
them.
was part of the like I said, the first time I went there, that was the first thing that I noticed was the sound, and it's the sounds and the sights and the smells that make the Formula One experience. And you can still the smells are still there, and the pretty girls are still there,
Yeah.
but the sound is gone.
It smells like burnt rubber, Oil, gasoline, and wet pussy, bro. What's there not to love? I'm sorry. I apologize.
There's no need to apologize.
Is it still expensive as hell to
It's
go?
more expensive than ever, I think.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And yet it still attracts a crowd.
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't,
Well, there's enough people out there with who can afford it or who are willing to.
But the last couple
spend the
of
money.
years, and I read somewhere, the stats were fucking skyrocketing ever since they did that Netflix documentary kind of thing. I've seen it.
It was a
the
series.
F1.
I haven't seen it. No, but I hear
my
great
God.
things about it.
Oh my goodness, Ted! I think they're in the third year now, or it was the third year. They're preparing the fourth. So I never followed F1. I mean, I enjoy probably whatever, like any other guy. But not that crazy for it, I've never been there. I don't see, what the craze is all about. So I never fought. Ever since I started watching that F1 thing on Netflix, dude, you're fucking hooked. And it's not like I watch F1 more. It's just that I look forward to seeing that. It's so well done. It is so well done, and it gains so much.
That's a commentary on how well produced and
Oh my goodness.
written and edited that series.
But that apparently boosted sales like crazy all over the world.
Yeah.
Everyone suddenly became a fan of F1. They had no clue what the fuck F1 was. And they copy pasted that for tennis. They did it for golf. And I think they're looking at all these other sports where
behind
they
the
can.
scenes, it's a behind the scenes thing.
Basically, I don't know how big their crew is, but they follow every single driver. They interview them. They follow their race. They have cameras in their crew. They're into their communications, and the editing is so spectacular.
Production values,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness, it's so it's amazing, and it's a story. It's like this
Yeah.
drama things. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, what did he say about him? Oh fuck, he's
Yeah.
getting fired, and like you get into this thing, and it's real. It's just people following everyone with cameras all the time.
I have another theory as to why they're getting rid of V8s and all this and big engines bad. These engines and cars, I feel tap into something primal in people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I think the whole
Especially in men.
yeah, especially
Although
in men.
you know what, women too. That's
Women
why
too.
beautiful women end
Hey.
up at the track. They like the fast cars.
The Maserati Quattroporte, do you know that one?
Yeah.
The exhaust note is considered an aphrodisiac to women.
Really?
Yes. Now this was Maserati that conducted the experiment.
Maserati came to that.
It may be a little bit,
Unbiased, completely
Yeah.
it
unbiased.
may be a little bit biased.
Okay, well, now we have to find a video with the Maserati Quattroporte and listen to the exhaust note.
I'll find it.
Find it.
And if any of us like it, that means we're gay.
But I just want to finish my theory. I think they're trying to not silence, but squash. That's the word I'm looking for. Squash that primal instinct in
They're
people.
trying to, you know what the word is? Emasculate.
Yes, there you go.
Yep. They're trying to
They're trying
emasculate
to
us.
emasculate everything.
I don't know if they're going to succeed though. Like you said, it's such a happening. The
All this
F1.
shit
You go
makes-
there, it's
Well,
about
it
the cars.
generates
It's
so much money too.
Oh, my
can't,
goodness. Yeah.
Again, you can't. Formula E is not going to work. I'm surprised that circuit even still exists.
Oh, it does? It still exists?
I just had a look. It still exists. I think maybe they race in Europe, maybe South America.
didn't
I'm not sure.
Coder bring the race one year in Montreal?
1 year,
It
yeah,
completely
and it was a
flopped.
bust. Yeah, well, of course.
Well, it
because-
wasn't a bust. He got in trouble for it because he had given so many tickets out for free to
that's
promote
true,
it,
yeah.
which made sense. But that completely destroyed his last campaign.
Yeah,
The
but it
Formula
was
E.
like, to Poseidon's point, it was like watching a bunch of gay ghosts race around the track. All you heard was.
Ooh, I'm coming to suck your dick. Ooh.
But yeah, so the Netflix thing and even the tennis one is very well done.
Yeah.
They have the women and the men. It's crazy, and I can understand why now all these sports companies are going after it. I wonder if they can do it for hockey. That would be amazing if they're doing it for hockey. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But hockey isn't as international as tennis or as the
Hockey's
F1.
still pretty
golf.
international, and there's big enough market that you could do it. It
Well, it's
sounds
North
to me
America,
like
mainly.
they did it with the NFL, and I wonder if that's where it started. The NFL does a behind the scenes thing with they pick one team every year, and they go to training camp with them and follow them through training camp.
Yeah.
I can't think of what the hell
Okay.
it's called though.
So, according to
found
a study conducted by the British company,
Did you get the Maserati?
I'm gonna get it.
Oh, yeah.
According to a study conducted by the British company, you'll never guess the name, Hiscox, the sound of a running Maserati engine has a biological effect on women. After listening to Maserati, 100% of the women had elevated testosterone levels, indicating an increased libido. Interesting.
100 elevated testosterone levels.
Yeah.
I thought that was a guy thing, testosterone. Would they not have
No, well,
elevated-
because women have testosterone as well.
Yeah.
They just have a lot less of it.
Okay.
Estrogen squashes libido, testosterone increases
I didn't
libido.
know-
Yeah,
in women.
In men too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the type of hormones, but there needs to be a balance.
Thank you, doctor.
I'm not an.
No, but it makes sense. I don't know. You know.
I'll believe it.
Yeah.
You got it?
Oh wait, let's mute this 5 seconds. Okay.
That sounds nice.
Paris.
It's basically a 4-door Ferrari. Let's go to the most exciting parts. Oh. Yeah, that little deep growl that you hear.
Yeah.
Apparently that's very exciting to women.
What's the crackle in the exhaust note? What causes that? Do you know?
I don't know actually.
That's pretty sweet.
I love that Maserati managed to close down streets in Paris. to
Seriously.
film
Yeah.
the-
Again, money talks.
Yeah, to film a commercial. Like, there's no cars. The tunnel is all ours. Let's go.
God damn.
Yeah.
I must say, my 2013 Passat doesn't sound like that.
My electric
Maybe I
vehicle
got to
doesn't.
maybe I got to tune it and get a straight pipe, eh?
What causes crackle sound?
Who fucking cares? It sounds good, honestly. Do you really need to know the technicalities?
Yes, I do.
That's awesome.
I'll ask Charlie. He'll know, my son.
Oh, it's literally just the type of fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you put super, when the car has leftover fuel in the exhaust and the cylinders, that fuel explosively burns and it creates a loud popping sound.
There you go.
Huh.
I got the wrong article here.
That's interesting.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but
No, I don't think that's the right thing. All right, moving on to the news.
New York, yeah.
Now back to the news.
There's a New York judge that. Hold on a second. Let me just get the article here. There you go. Yeah. So there's a federal judge in New York that has ordered documents that contain close to 200 names of people that were affiliated or associated with
Epstein.
With Epstein. So all that time that we were wondering what the hell is going on here, you know, they imprisoned whatever her face was.
The coffee lady.
His girlfriend.
Ghislaine Maxwell, the coffee lady.
Maxwell House.
Yeah, for
little kids.
for accessory to, I don't know, whatever the charges were, but everyone was wondering, accessory to what though? I mean, how, you know?
Yeah.
So now
You walk into the wrong Maxwell House. You're like, hold on, I came for coffee. What the fuck's going on here?
So that's going to be, and that they've ordered that for early next year. So obviously we're going to have much more information in the coming months. But can you imagine what's on those lists? I'm dying to find out. Politicians, businessmen.
And apparently it's only 3% of the people they're exposing, eh?
The 200 names?
The 200 names.
It's 170 or 180 names, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's only, 3%?
Fucking, that's so crazy.
So hold on. That means...
So maybe they will leave out all the politicians, you think?
I don't know. And I'm more curious to know, like, what exactly did the people who are on the list, aside from hiding their identity, like what are they hiding? Because to me, if a bunch of consenting adults went somewhere and had an orgy, as long as they're consenting adults, then
But
problem
the idea is that the girls that they had over there were part of this whole ring of.
so that it was sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were not there. They were not there voluntarily, and they were also underage. Is that the allegation?
They were the
Yeah.
consenting adults, but they allegedly had orgies with unconsenting underage.
Okay, well then,
children.
then I understand
Yes.
that that's a problem.
That's a very big problem.
Yeah. But again, if if it was just a bunch of grown-ups going and
I don't have an issue
having
with
to
that.
go at each other, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, look, it says here that she was convicted in 2021 of conspiring with Epstein to recruit, groom, and abuse minors.
Okay, there you go.
So that's
A lot of
obviously that's a
torture
problem.
shit, a
Yeah.
lot of crazy dark shit.
Yeah, that's not
demonic,
good.
satanic rituals, crazy.
Really,
shit.
eh?
Yeah.
Fucking weirdos.
Whatever
Can you not just get a fucking leg over and have a smoke and watch the game? Jesus Christ, you have to put on fucking devil masks. And I guess some people, actually, I knew someone who was a cam girl.
Okay.
Oh.
And she told me, without going into detail, she told me that guys, or her clients at least, like it has to go further and further and further. It has to get weirder and weirder and weirder in order for them to get whatever it is that they're looking for.
I think it's also a matter of curiosity. Like, okay, what would she do?
A lot of it has to do with addiction too, by the way. It's an
Oh,
addiction.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, anyone who's, if you're online with a cam girl, that's, to me, that is an addiction for
sure.
Part of an
I had,
addiction. If you're shelling out dough to watch someone, stick a fucking cucumber in their foo-foo, that ain't normal, man. Sorry.
I had on my In Bed with Poseidon episode, I had a guy who has an OnlyFans with a porn star and stuff like that, and they were guests, and he explained to me he's aware of his problem, like his sex problem. Mm-hmm. Like he was talking about, it's like chasing the dragon. It's like doing heroin, but everything is sexual.
Yeah.
Basically, it's never enough. It always,
Yeah, well,
you always need
that's
more.
exactly how she described her clients.
He goes, it's come to a point now, and he said this openly on the podcast, where sometimes in order for me to come, I have to get pegged.
What the fuck?
Because nothing else will do it.
Like,
Or
you
he's-
get so desensitized.
or he's come so many times that it's just, he's injected shit into his dick. He's
Oh,
done
man.
crazy shit. Yeah.
How crazy is that? I want to talk a little bit about McGill, guys, because...
But hold on, let's not brush over this Epstein thing, bro.
Well,
You
we
just
have nothing
brushed
else
over
to say. I mean, look...
Who's the judge? What's happening? Is she safe?
This is a New York the New York judge. I'm just wondering if, because we're following what's happening with Trump, right? I mean, and by the way, he was
I don't know what's happening with him. I haven't heard much about
New
him
York,
lately.
New York is up his ass.
Yeah,
big
well, I
time.
understand,
You know what
but I haven't heard much about the trial. Is it in recess? What's going on?
No, I mean, it's still there. They're up. There's a lot of stuff, and I don't follow. I mean, obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand half of it, but they're really going after him. Yesterday, though, I don't know if you saw this. The Supreme Court in Colorado decided that it was unconstitutional for him to be on the ballot for the Republican convention. So they're going to bar him from the ballot in Colorado. And
do that.
I don't. Well, I've read arguments on either side.
On what grounds? Because he's before the courts?
No, Article 14. I think it's related to the October 6th, to the January 6th events that happened. And I didn't read it. It's something to do with Article 14 or something like that. In any case, it is ridiculous.
Well, it's just more lawfare against him. They're
It's
fucking
ridiculous.
scared shitless of him.
It's only that. It's like, dude, this is a democratic process that you're interfering with. Like, well, what's the problem? If people don't like him, they will just not vote for him. But you're not the one that has to decide. And
Well, they're afraid because people do like him. More people like him than
but
they
who?
would
But
prefer.
who are you to intervene?
I understand. You're preaching to the choir.
And I know
here.
that Robert Kennedy Jr. came out and he was against what they did. They're like, this is so undemocratic.
Yeah.
How many times have we heard of courts elsewhere in the world intervening in the democratic process, and we're the first to criticize it, and now it's happening here at home? He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So
it's a different set of rules for Trump as far as the political
I'm just
establishment is concerned.
thinking because of this this witch hunt that that he's under, and the fact that it's New York, a New York judge that ordered the names to be released, I wonder if they know that something is associated to Trump. There's been a lot of speculation on the friendship that they have. He himself has said that they were friends with Epstein, and that he's traveled with him, and that he's been on his island or whatever. I think I've read something like that. Is it just something more to add to the flames? I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like Trump was the only one who went to the island.
No, I know. But you know that he's. I don't know. This is all just speculation, right? I mean, we don't know. But
I thought the Clintons were pretty chummy with him as well.
The Clintons too. I'm sure they're worried. I've read some conspiracy theories around the fact that Clinton was behind his alleged suicide in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know anything, but I mean, it is kind of weird that the guards that were supposed to watch over him 24/7 suddenly were asleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just weird. There's a lot of weird shit around this individual. And you know what's crazy is that nobody knew who this guy was. He was so under the radar. And then when this came out, I was like, who is this fucking gazillionaire that had ties with all these politicians and businessmen?
He was well known among the elite.
Exactly.
Among the A-listers.
Exactly.
For sure.
Let me just go to McGill for a second, because we've spoken about Quebec's new policy to increase tuition fees for foreign students coming outside of Quebec to study at McGill. It is nothing less than a penalty, because they're bringing in all these foreign students. They're penalizing the English-speaking universities, so McGill, Concordia, and Bishops, and they're doubling the tuitions. Bishops was spared. Because of the nature of the town that they're in, I think it's in Lennoxville.
Yeah.
So they understood that it's going to completely destroy the university. I mean, it won't even exist anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because primarily it is composed of students coming in from the U.S. and the links that they have with certain American universities as well.
Okay.
So there's a lot of collaborations happening there.
So they gave them a pass.
So there's a pass over there. But Concordia and McGill, they are going to have to increase their tuition. And the higher education minister came out, I believe, end of last week, saying that in addition to that, the students coming to study at McGill and Concordia have to pass a level 5 French exam. I mean, what are you doing? It's an English university, right? So that has, again, brought
that
up,
almost says don't bother.
yeah. So what McGill did is like, okay, look, we'll address the French exam. Okay, we'll see what we can do about that. In the meantime, though, so that we don't lose this clientele, McGill, and I'm curious to see if Concordia is going to follow in the same direction. McGill is offering a bursary of the exact amount that the government is charging as a tuition hike. So it'll cost nothing extra for the students coming to study at McGill. So it's sort of kind of like McGill taking on that charge. So let's say you were interested in studying at McGill, but you're like, oh shit, it's like whatever, $3,000-$4,000 more than it should be. McGill will give, and I think it's over 80% of the students that are going to be eligible for this bursary. So McGill is going to pay off that whole thing.
That French test thing doesn't even sound constitutional to me.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
But I wonder if that could stand up. You can't come here and go to this university if you can't speak a certain level of French.
Let me tell you, let me just predict something right now on this show, and maybe we can come back to it if ever it happens. I have a feeling that the same way that the government was embarrassed to backtrack on that underground tunnel that they wanted to create between Quebec and Lévis,
Right.
that $10 billion project that they ran the campaign on and they essentially won on, and they backtracked, and since then it's been fucking downfall for Legault's CAQ government. I have a feeling that this is going to be another one of those situations where they're going to backtrack on this.
The whole tuition thing, or just that French test? The whole thing.
I think the whole thing.
Yeah.
They're going to cave in on the pressure. There's so much factual evidence demonstrating that it's good for Quebec for these students to come here.
Of course.
And it makes absolutely no sense. There is an enormous amount of pressure on the government coming obviously from these institutions, but also from the opposition parties. And this addition, because this wasn't ever a thought, right? When this whole story broke, it was only a tuition hike. There was no mention of French. So this is something that new that came into the formula. I don't know what's going to happen. McGill is sort of finding a way to fight the government on this. Like, you're not going to take away our clientele. Fuck off, Yeah. I don't know how economically it's going to affect them in particular, because there was an article that came out and said that already McGill and Concordia are in the negative. I mean, they're in the red, I mean, the amount of millions of dollars that are being spent on investment programs and all these things that they're putting into the universities, this is a huge blow for them financially. So I don't know what this means, but it's interesting. And speaking of McGill, and going back to the demonstrations that we were talking about before, and this is an article that you sent, Ted. There is a pro-Palestinian student association at McGill that's been going around, obviously in support of Hamas and calling Hamas's actions on the 7th of October as heroic, and just stuff that has absolutely no place here. The problem is that they're using the logo of McGill because they're a student association of McGill, and McGill came out and said, "Listen, you're gonna have to remove McGill, the name, the logo, everything. We cannot be associated to this garbage." The student association has contested it, so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't understand how the university doesn't have more authority to just completely cancel that student body.
That's a good point, because it's appalling that they would. Well, it's appalling that they would call that action heroic, A, and then B, to say to the university, "Fuck you, we're going to use your name and logo whether you like it or not."
I don't know.
It's a group of students from the university.
Yeah.
They're McGill students.
So you have McGill, and then you have the umbrella, which is the student body, kind of the student union, which is the Student Society of McGill, so the SSMU. The people that have gone to McGill listening to this obviously know what I'm talking about. It's they're a pretty active body, and every student association has to be registered with the SSMU at McGill. The same thing happens at Concordia. It's kind of like an umbrella organization under which all these student bodies have to register under. Now, I don't know if that has its own charter or if it acts independently. It's just under the auspices of the university.
Right.
And that, the university doesn't necessarily have any legal kind of framework to judge what is being done there. But at the same time, you are working and you're functioning under our building. There is definitely some sort of responsibility that the university can.
To me, using the name and the logo, you're welcome to your abhorrent views, but don't tie us to them. That would be my position. Well, that is McGill's position.
That is McGill's
right?
position.
But the student group has basically said, "Fuck you."
We're going to keep doing it. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know if McGill has the right to kind of overstep
some recourse.
Yeah. But things are moving, especially after what we saw in the U.S. That congressional hearing with Harvard, MIU, and Penn, MIT, sorry, and the repercussions have been just disastrous. Right? We spoke about how really, really, really wealthy donors have withdrawn their funding. Universities are afraid.
Yeah, yeah. The wealthy donors, and I'm putting you on the spot here because I don't know if you know the answer to this. Are we talking wealthy donors, wealthy non-Jewish donors as well as wealthy Jewish
The
donors?
one I heard about Penn,
Yeah.
or was it Harvard? I don't know. I think it was Penn. It was he was a Jewish donor, and it was $100 million.
Yeah.
So imagine the money this guy has.
I would like to think that some non-Jewish donors are also taking that position. I would hope so. I would hope so.
Probably.
Yeah.
But
I would be disappointed if not.
Yeah, this is all speculative, and obviously we don't have the figures. But I'm willing to bet that in terms of donors, there is a considerable amount coming from Jewish families or
course,
Jewish businessmen, businesswomen.
Yeah, I would think the same for McGill as well.
Yeah.
I think McGill or that the Jewish community has some very deep roots at McGill.
No, guaranteed. What do we end on, guys? Should we talk a little bit about NATO?
Is that a kicker? Is NATO a kicker? Is NATO funny?
Nah, not really. It's
Let's
pretty.
end on something funny.
You could talk about NATO.
What's going on with NATO?
Following what happened with Ukraine and Russia last year or a year and a half ago, there's been other countries that have requested to join NATO.
Okay.
Kind of in a move to protect themselves and to be under this context of, like, have my back, please.
Right.
Those countries are Sweden and Finland.
Finland's a dicey one because they're right there on the Russian frontier,
so
right?
they got in, no problem. Sweden has a big problem, and the problem is being raised by Turkey, which is a NATO member. We've spoken many times about Turkey's kind of flip-flop policy with its allies, NATO allies. They've always claimed that there are terrorists living in Sweden, and Sweden is...
not Swedish-born terrorists, not...
Yeah, no, they're just harboring terrorists
not
and whatever.
blonde-haired, blue-eyed terrorists.
Look, this is Turkey's position. The rest of the world's position is that these are people that fled Turkey because they're afraid of persecution and they're in Sweden. So Turkey wants to repatriate these individuals to obviously imprison them.
Yeah.
I approve of Turkey's.
I don't. I think they're fucking idiots. But anyway,
wanting to repatriatize their
bro.
own citizens.
No, you can't do that. But they've been using this card as their gambling chip, and this is standard Turkish policy, foreign policy. They came to the table and said, look, you want us to vote in favor of Sweden coming into NATO? At first, it was this repatriation issue, but suddenly that's not an issue anymore. All they want now is for the U.S. to approve the sale of the F-16 jets, which the U.S. has paused because they just don't trust Turkey ever since they acquired the S-400 missiles from Russia. It's like, how can you link Russian military equipment on NATO's fucking system? What are you, stupid? So there's an issue there, and they blocked the sale of F-16s to Turkey. And at the same time, Canada has said there's an arms embargo, so they're not selling. I think it's military imaging technology that they use on drones,
right.
And they put a pause on that. So Turkey now this week came out and said, listen, I'll allow Sweden to come in. Suddenly, terrorism and all these things it's no longer a question, but they said, look, we want Canada to lift the embargo on that military imaging equipment that they sell to us, and for the U.S. to finally approve the sale of the F-16s. I don't understand this country, and I mean, I don't blame him. He's doing whatever he has to do.
Erdogan, you mean?
Yeah, that he thinks is in favor of his country. They're playing their own politics over there. He's the position that they have is so strategic that I get what he's trying to do to establish himself as a regional kind of power. But for me, it's such a risk having this country in NATO, and look at the games they're playing. So I hope that the U.S. and Canada don't cave in under the pressure. I'm not so sure what they're going to do because they want Sweden to be part of NATO. So yeah.
I don't think they're going to cave in because they're too busy having something else caved in. Hey,
I was wondering where he was going with that.
Have you seen
Here it comes.
Have you seen the video where they pass the laws in the Senate, the U.S., the staffer that's getting anally demolished?
Oh, you saw that video?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Well, like, what possesses someone?
It's obvious what he's doing.
No, I get it, and you can do whatever you want. But on the fucking Senate floor, like, dude, what are you doing?
That's how he gets off.
And he films it, and they fucking released it. It's ridiculous. Speaking of Turkey, and this is not really a lighter note, but it is something that made me kind of fucking re-question my faith. There was a parliamentarian on the floor in the Turkish parliament who was making a statement on the whole issue in the Middle East, and he was talking about the Jews, and obviously Turkey has taken a very huge stance against Israel, and he's talking, and the Jews this and the Jews that, and they're gonna feel the wrath of Allah and blah blah blah. As soon as he stops, he gets a heart attack and he dies.
Oh, I heard that.
The footage is just incredible. The guy's talking. You see the subtitles.
You want to see it?
I tweeted it. I think I can't remember. But it's like, if that isn't I don't know how. I don't know where you are with your faith.
Yeah.
But if that's not a direct message from some sort of superior power, some sort of I think if you go on my Twitter feed, you're probably going to see it. It's one of the top tweets there. Hold on, let me see if I have it. And you see the guy. It's as soon as he finishes his statement, the poor guy collapses.
Down goes Frazier.
Yeah, as soon as I finish, I gotta go for a cigarette.
Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, go on my Twitter feed.
Did you hear what I said?
I heard.
You chose to ignore it. You did the right thing, Ted.
No, I didn't. Wasn't ignoring it. I was thinking. I made a mental note. Good one.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Where is it? Oh, I found it.
Oh, there it is.
Turkish MP threatens. Okay, I see it. Un momento, por favor, señor.
It made me think of the guy who committed suicide in court in the former Yugoslavia.
Oh, this is recent?
Oh no, this was a number of years ago.
Allah'ın gazabından kurtulamayacaksınız.
Where's the subtitles?
Hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum.
Good night, everybody. Jesus.
Just drop dead.
Allah'ın gazabından kurtulamayacaksınız.
See, there he's going.
Hepinizi saygıyla selamlıyorum.
Pow.
Goddamn.
There you have it, folks. So maybe you can re-question your faith. I don't know what you believe in, but if that's not a message, I don't know what is. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign off for the day. Are you bring us out there, Poseidon? Let's go. Get the music going.
Yeah, if you're tired of your chores, don't do them.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. And thank you for your support. You can follow Poseidon at the Poseidon69. I am Poseidon.com. The man in front of me is Ted Bird. You can catch him every single morning on the radio.
Merry Christmas if you celebrate. If you don't, I hope you don't have a heart attack.
Yeah. So you can catch him every morning on the radio. And you should actually definitely go and check out Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast. You can get my stuff at the Backstage podcast and Politiquement Parlant if you speak or understand French. We have an amazing guest in the next episode, a legend in the political world. And of course, you should definitely go and subscribe and buy some sort of plan on patreon.com/Pantelis. A bunch of exclusive content being pumped out of there. So go and check that out.
All of it is gay.
It's all gay and it's all Poseidon. We're gonna probably take a break for the holidays. I'm assuming we haven't even spoken about it, but I don't think. Obviously there won't be a show before the Christmas. Before Christmas.
Yeah.
So
I say we take a break for Christmas. Do you boys agree?
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to go. I'm around if you need.
What do you want?
I'm around next week as well. Maybe we can do something in between. If not, whatever, we'll call each other. We'll figure it out. Maybe you'll see us next week. Maybe not. In any
We'll
case,
decide last minute on Tuesday. If you don't see us, look, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you like to say. Happy yeah, Ted.
Just happy yeah, guys. Happy holidays to everyone. All the very best to you and to yours. Merry Christmas. If we don't do another episode before the New Year, Happy New Year, and we will see you all very soon.
Why'd you say it like that?
Either before
Happy
the
New Year.
Happy New Year. Either if we don't see you before or after, wishing you all the very best, guys. Thank you so much for all the support. We'll see you guys soon. Ciao.
Peace out.